Hello folks, and welcome to my Grav gun build guide. I hope this helps you folks trying to level up a heavy a heavy Crusader, heavy ranged Crusader. Let's have a quick look at the skills. Started off with the range combat tree, focused aim, good skill to pick up early on. Ammo mastery leading into heavy load to start with, unlocking the grenade launcher at level 8. We want ammo mastery and heavy load, quicker reloads, more damage. If you're going to be using a auto gun or bolt gun as a secondary with your grenade launcher, then pick up hit and run for the auto gun and assault tactics for your bolt gun and your auto gun. Both have salvo skills. Once we get to level 20 and we get into our grav gun, you can spec out of these because our grenade launcher will become secondary. But early levels, ammo mastery, heavy load for running your grenade launcher, left hand side of the range tree, focused aim, assault tactics if you're going to run bolt gun or auto gun, and hit and run if you're going to run the auto gun. Early levels, I used shotgun all the way up to level 8 until I got my grenade launcher. I used a plasma gun, a secondary, for dealing with heavily armored targets and tanks, using skills using the main shot, single shot, and the armor piercing shot on the plasma gun. After you have those, move down into the movement tree, grab all your skill cooldowns. This will give you 25% natural cooldown. It will give you 20% movement speed for 5 seconds, and cerebral feedback for 10% cooldown per crit. Very nice skills to have. Definitely grab the right hand side of the movement tree. After the movement tree, move into the AoE tree, grab absolutely everything in the AoE tree. Once you've finished with the AoE tree, move on to the critical hit tree, grab everything in the critical hit tree, but leave out retaliation and cold blood. After you've done this, you then have some points left over to play around with. Heat tree, good choice. Adamantium heatsink, minus 20% less heat generated on your grav gun. And I had 3 points left after that, which I put into the Puritan tree. You can put these points where you see fit, but I went with the Puritan tree. You can leave out adamantium heatsink if you roll cooldown reduction on your weapon, but I would personally recommend rolling offensive stats on your grav gun and taking the 3 skill points here for the heat reduction, heat generation reduction. That takes care of skill points. Let's move on to character. Attributes: 20 warfare, 10 toughness, 5 virtue is absolutely fine. The best bonuses in my opinion are all in the warfare tree, and not only that, it gives us a flat 20% more range damage. That pretty much takes care of the attributes. Subclass, I chose the heavy gunner. He starts off with the best starting perk in my opinion, which is Exalted by Murder, plus 5% damage for every kill for 5 seconds, and this is stacking. Grenade launcher, very heavy AoE weapon. You're going to be clearing trash and stacking this up quite nicely at the early levels. When you can, move into Keen Fury as soon as possible, followed by Adaptive Efficiency to deal with the heat generation of your grav gun. And then finally in the later levels, moving into Call of the Week. You can mix and match these as you're leveling up to fit your playstyle, but ultimately towards end game, I am running Keen Fury, Adaptive Efficiency, Call of the Week. My stats at the moment: 35% crit hit chance, plus 30 crit hit strength, and 13% movement speed. But the most important things here are the crit hit chance. As for inventory items, grenade launcher to start with, you want to be spamming 2 and 3 with number 1 being your filler shot. Leave out short burst. It's a waste of ammo in my opinion. And with our natural cooldown from the movement tree, we're already rocking 2.3 and 3.8 second cooldowns on our main AoEs. We're going to be spamming these, filling in with single shot. When you get to the grav gun, this is your filler attack, armor piercing, strong versus armored, very nice. Again, temporal anomaly, I find to be rather lackluster and just a waste of heat generation. We're going to be using this to clear trash. It's a channeled beam attack, does very, very nicely at clearing out all the useless fodder. And we have Gravity Implosion, our big AoE, that's persistent for 5 seconds, that does tick damage per second as well as an initial burst. We can drop 3 to 4 of these. We should be able to drop 3 or 4 of these. This is our champion and elite boss killer, coupled in with single shot. For enchants, as much crit as you can. Cooldown for Gravity Implosion is important. If you could get that to 32%, you'll probably be at around about a 7-second cooldown. I was happy with 25. Relic enchant you want to roll. Each critical hit inflicts shock on the target, regardless of suppression. It's nice for debuff, to tie in with Cold a Weak. Armor. Each critical hit has a 20% chance to create a Rosaria's force field. As we get our crit chance up and we use digital weapons in the later levels, this is going to be ticking off quite nicely. You could end up with about 8 plus stacks of Rosaria's force field. So you could end up with 20 to 30 seconds of complete immunity in heavily dense maps. Movement speed is always good. Low levels, I would probably say use Personal Void Shield for the 2k extra health or shield, and the instant refresh of suppression. Later levels, when you can, switch into digital weapons. That about takes care of it, guys. Any questions, please let me know. If you want to see any vids, check out my Twitch VODs to see this guy in action at all the levels, starting from level 1 all the way up to max level at 50, running Impossible Taros. Hope that helps, guys. Any questions, feel free to find me on Twitch. I'll leave a message and I'll get back to you when I can. Enjoy the build, enjoy Inquisitor Martyr, and game on, folks.